If he dies and you're sleeping, should we wake you up or do we let you sleep?
Send me an Amber Alert.
We need a reason to celebrate. Hurry the out!
These ladies seem lovely. You need to reconnect with reality because you have lost sight, you've lost the plot. There is a 0% chance that any of those women that I just showed you are living happy, fulfilled lives. We're going to check in with the bloodthirsty lunatics on TikTok who are responding to the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting in a super normal, insane way. Just kidding. They are thirsting for blood. Very sad that Trump was not killed because it's like, and again, guys, y'all know I'm not a supporter of Trump. I'm very critical of him, but I'm just a normal person. So I never want to see harm come to people just because I disagree with them politically. And I think that's horrific and not something that should exist in a free democratic society. But yeah, they're like actively waiting on his death and very sad that he wasn't killed over on TikTok. And by the way, when it comes to like TikTok reactions or anything, I'm going to show you a compilation I made of a couple unhinged videos. But sometimes there's a tendency that some people do to cherry pick and find like a random TikToker who got 5 likes saying something crazy. We're not doing that here. And I didn't do that today. What I'm about to show you is a compilation of TikToks that cumulatively have tens of millions of views and millions of likes. All of these were hugely popular, highly engaged with videos. Not cherry-picked a crazy person with blue hair saying something to 3 people. That's not what we're dealing with here. We are dealing with mass online sentiment that is openly bloodthirsty and deranged. In this case, from the left. Obviously, that not only from the left, but in this case from the left. And it's incredibly disturbing. But we're going to watch it because we do need to reckon with it and push back on it and try to right this ship because otherwise things are just going to keep heading towards shipwreck, to continue the analogy there. All right, let's take a look at this compilation.
If somebody misses one more time, nobody wants to work these days. Nobody wants to get out there and work. John's on Twitter painting, Lee's in the ground. Hello? What are we gonna do? I don't need none of this. I don't need none of ducking under the tables at the Correspondence Center. I need action. I need execution of the plan. I don't like being teased. I can enjoy a little playful moment. That's what this was, okay? But I'm ready to...
This guy is out here openly, and this had millions of views, thousands upon thousands of likes on this video. And he's openly, almost like sexually aroused by the idea of the president of the United States being murdered. This is fine. This is super normal, stable discourse we've got here. Not going to lead to bloodshed, chaos, or civil war if that sentiment is widely adopted. Very emotionally well-adjusted grown adults are out there laughing at this and liking along. It's actually psychotic behavior. This is actually like, this dude should be committed. It is not normal or okay or healthy to have this kind of approach where you are openly supportive of and cheering on political terrorism and murder just because you hate Trump so much, which, by the way, doesn't even make sense because if he was killed, which God forbid, I really hope never happens, doesn't matter how much I dislike Trump or criticize him, I don't want harm to him, and I think it would be so terrible for the country. You know, like we'd get President J.D. Vance, first of all, who would probably be more right-wing and more hardcore and more effective at actually enacting the stuff than Trump, and it would lead to a massive, the same way that the horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk led to a huge influx of donations and support for Turning Point, and Charlie became even more famous than he already was. Well, actually killing Trump, which, again, I hope never happens, it would have the opposite effect, though, of what people like this seem to think it would. It would make him and his movement get more sympathy and more energy, and he would be memorialized as a kind of like martyr in American life in some way. Like it really would not go the way they think it would go. I guess that's naive of me to suggest that they're thinking at all. Really quite silly of me, actually. My bad. Anyway, let's look at the next video in this lovely compilation that of videos I had to watch, so I'm going to make you suffer through as well.
Okay, if he dies and you're sleeping, should we wake you up or do we let you sleep?
Send me an Amber Alert.
I expect no less than prompt notification, i.e. pots and pans smashing together in a clapping fashion, fireworks, scream it in my face. It doesn't matter if I'm sleeping. I expect to be aware as soon as possible. Let's not waste a moment of our newfound joy. Thank you.
I don't want to hear about another assassination attempt unless it was successful. Keep that off my timeline until there's success in the air. Get me hyped for nothing. We need a reason to celebrate. Hurry the up!
These ladies seem lovely. They seem super normal and well-adjusted. Like, it's actually sad. You have to be very sick in the soul to be waiting on and living for the demise of another human life. It is okay to hate Trump, to totally disagree with what he's doing, even to think he's terrible for the country and so harmful and wrong. But if you, and I would apply this in the opposite direction. If you ever found yourself feeling this way about the Democrats or about a leftist or anything like that, you need to go outside. You need to reconnect with reality because you have lost sight, you've lost the plot. You've lost sight of our common humanity and any semblance of decency, and then you've allowed politics to consume and corrode your soul to a level that is truly deeply, deeply spiritually, mentally, and physically destabilizing for you, right? This is a recipe for misery, for mental illness, and for just sending so much darkness and hate out into the world. And, that kind of hate consumes you from within. There is a 0% chance that any of those women that I just showed you are living happy, fulfilled lives, right? Any person, left or right, who is a happy, productive member of society does not post and choose to upload content like that. It's an instant red flag. It's a self-report. It is an admission of a deep, deep sickness inside your soul, but you need therapy, not TikTok. Yet we've got an environment that's encouraging these women on the internet and gassing them up and saying, yes, queen, me too, instead of seek help immediately, instead of call a hotline, which is what they should be doing. I don't know, man. Here we got more lovely people from TikTok waiting on bated breath for the president of the United States to die. Let's keep going here.
Not to sound callous here, my love, but when is it just gonna happen already? When is it just gonna happen? Every day that passes, dude looks more and more like Oogie Boogie from The Nightmare Before Christmas. If he had just been dredged from a river. What sort of weird reverse portrait of Dorian Gray shit is this? Man is withering, darling. He's got blood thicker than Megan the Stallion, and his mind is in tatters. There's nothing going on behind those suspiciously pig-like eyes of his. His neurons are on strike. So when is it just gonna happen?
Oh, he's getting out his tinfoil hat. Says, did you see the news about what happened at that dinner? And then he's putting on a tinfoil hat. Yeah. Again, it's funny to me because I'm familiar with this guy's content. He at least used to be a teacher, by the way, which I'm certainly glad he's not in the classroom these days. If that's the kind of insane worldview he has, that was two different people. So the first guy was just like so sad that Trump hasn't died yet, and it's like, when is it gonna happen? He's wasting. And I agree that Trump has certainly lost several steps and is not exactly a paragon of health and fitness. And I actually think he's too old to be president, but obviously that's not a thing after Joe Biden. Apparently you can just be however old. You don't have to have any sort of cognitive sharpness. Like, I think we probably need to, Democrats and Republicans, come together and just pass a mandatory age maximum on the presidency. Like, you can't take office after 70 or something like that, and add a constitutional amendment so that we can just, whatever party they're in, we can get the geriatrics and octogenarians out of the Oval Office. Because, like, it's literally the most stressful and consuming job on planet Earth, and we're giving it to people who most of us wouldn't want to be driven around in a car by. Not great, but it is still weird and sick to be like rooting on this man's death or counting the day. It's like you need a hobby that hopefully doesn't involve death and suffering and despair. Humble suggestion. And then I love how the dude, the TikTok influencer who is putting on his tinfoil hat. What's so funny about that to me, I mean, it's in one sense it's evil. Like, don't get me wrong, it's absolutely messed up. But because again, he's suggesting it's fake, it's staged, and obviously there's no evidence of that. But what's particularly funny about that is that these same people are like, I'm sure, and I probably agreed with a fair amount of what they had to say about this, very critical of like crazy far right conspiracies and Alex Jones and Sandy Hook and all this horrific stuff and lies that were peddled. And then the second it's like about Trump, they're like, that's it. I'm joining the conspiracy people. I identify as tinfoil hat now. It's like, really? So y'all had never actually cared about like truth or being responsible or having integrity. It's just, you just now, because it's the people you hate, it's fine. That's like, you realize that's not moral. That's kind of evil, actually, right? I guess they don't care. But what's funny about that, particularly funny, and again, it's not funny, but it's funny, is that people like Mr. Williams here, the massive TikToker who put on his tinfoil hat, are suggesting like it's staged or fake that somebody would try to go kill the president like this. Yet they are literally part of a media environment on TikTok, on that particular like ultra left, highly politically active part of TikTok, where people are constantly talking about how someone needs to kill Trump. There's a whole category of content like, somebody gonna do it? Are you gonna do it? I'm not going to do it. But if somebody did do it, we would fundraise for you. Like, this is a thing they're constantly saying and doing and joking about and joking, but it's really not a joke. And yet when someone tries to do it, they're like, it has to be fake. You of all people should understand why it's actually extremely likely that it is not fake. But that would require you thinking about it like with any sort of objectivity or rationality or sensibility, which isn't going to happen. So that's the latest from the bloodthirsty demons over on TikTok. Hope you enjoyed that. I didn't, but I had to suffer through watching it over the last couple days, so I decided that you guys would as well.